Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. Welcome back to another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. It's been a bit of a quieter one this week. I think we're all on a bit of a come down from the anniversary event last week. But there's still been enough to sink your teeth into. We've had the Champion Stadium, we've moved back to the Johto region this week. We've obviously had the continuation of the anniversary events, so Hearts United, Unity Gala. The Battle Villa has been open again for those of you that didn't finish it in the first couple of days. We've had an egg event land, we've had the presents. I say it's quiet and then I've listed 1,000 things. So let's start with the Champion Stadium. I was very happy with the Champion Stadium this week. It felt like easing back into a new region, you know? When you've been away and you sit back in your favourite chair and it's like, yeah, there we go. So in round one, the condition is that the additional effects of moves are more likely to kick in. I took on Bruno for this one and went with a grass-type team of Dawn and Torterra, Cygnus Leaf and Venusaur, and Brendan and Sceptile. The plan is to basically just make Bruno Dawn's bitch over and over again with Attack Siphon and X Defense basically rendering his attacks useless. In addition to that, you get some poison from Venusaur. I was hoping for refreshes with Mega Healing and also with X Defense, but sadly none came, so that parameter betrayed me a little bit. But when you get into the battle, you're similar to last week. You're doing Razor Leaf with Leaf. You're raising Brendan's crit hit rate first rather than using no holding back, because that's going to use up the move gauge. You're raising defense with Dawn and Torterra as well. You want to make sure for this one that you have stats reductions left on, because in addition to Attack Siphon, some of Leaf's passives are reducing defense and special defense. So Dawn gets that first sync move as a 6x support to boost all of the stats. After that I was going with Brendan. I think Leaf's sync move can do a lot of damage and it also gets adrenaline with it, but I was using Brendan's 6x to take out 2 side Pokemon and not have to worry about them. Once you've used that sync move, you can use your Mega Healing for that passive healing and that sync move countdown. That guarantees that you're going to get 2 sync moves before the enemy gets their first one. That's always very useful. And you're Razor Leafing with Leaf and also with Dawn. Brendan is using Leaf Storm because that's his most powerful attack. Get down to that second sync move, go with Brendan, as I said. And this one shouldn't be too much of an issue for you. You've got high defense, the enemy's attack is going to be low. You've got powerful sync move from Brendan there. You've got plenty of healing, both passive and also good as new, and also potions from Leaf. The only thing that may hinder you is low speed. That's always an issue when you've got Dawn in your team. But after that second sync move, you should just be focusing on Leaf Storm anyway to take out that little Pokemon and win the battle. When you get onto round 2, you get a sync move countdown reduction. I went up against Koga for this one with a fire type team of Red and Charizard, Blaine and Rapidash, and Torchic and the player. This round was a little bit more difficult. It took me a couple of attempts, but Red with his Solar Grid came good in the end. So you don't have any 6x supports in this one, so Red gets that first sync move. That helps because he can then use My Destiny to raise his attack. That plays into Haymaker. Torchic can also raise attack there. So in terms of the battle, you get 2 moves each and then you're into the sync move. Red raises his crit hit rate first. Blaine sets Trap with his first move and then does Sunny Day. And then Torchic is raising attack, as I said, for Haymaker. Red gets that first sync move in there. He uses My Destiny after that to raise his attack, and then it's about doing Blast Burn for getting as much damage as you can. You want to make sure that the move gauge is only really being used by Red. He's going to be the main source of your damage. I know you want to get to that sync move, but you've got to be a bit smart about when you use your Sunny Days and when you use your trainer moves with the player. Make sure you set that Sunny Day for a second time before Red gets his second sync move in. And then it's about, can you do enough blast burns to take out Koga and Crobat before he pin needles your team to death. That's where your trap is going to help. It's going to do damage to him over time, but it's mainly about the blast burns. When you come to round 3, you get a physical attack boost. I thought this was a good one to take on Will, and with a ghost type team of Morty, Phoebe and Xerneas as a secondary support in there. As I've said before, Morty has a mixture of physical and special attacks, but his sync move is physical. Will's Xatu has Impervious, so you want to make sure that you've got no stats reductions as one of your conditions. That's an easy 100 points right there. So at the moment, Morty is my go-to ghost striker. Phoebe's in there for her Vigilance and Unbreakable Bonds. Xerneas is in there for using that sync move to get that special defense boost and also that speed boost. It was unfortunate because that special defense boost didn't help Phoebe very much. She took some heavy hits very early on in the battle, and I couldn't get the World is Vast onto her fast enough, so she fainted before I could get that first sync move in there, which was unfortunate. She still managed to, do that crit hit raising and raise that attack before she fainted though, so it wasn't a sacrifice in vain. And after Xerneas has had that sync move, honestly, Will's attacks are quite weak. They're not doing much damage to you at all. And then if you've used the World is Vast, you're getting passive healings from when you use an attack. You're Horn Leeching and Shadow Balling for for super fun happy times there. You're going to be doing a lot of damage to get down to that second sync move, which Morty is going to take. And that 6 seconds is going to do damage to all 3 of them. It took out the one on the left hand side. Don't know what it was, didn't make enough of an impression on me. And then I switched to using Phantom Force. I got a little bit lucky because the computer didn't predict that it was going to take out his Xatu. Sometimes it does that. It sees that you're going to knock out the middle, and instead of having the middle attack, it'll have one of the sides attack. Didn't do that this time. I was able to get my second Phantom Force in there and took out his little matey boy to the right there, and very happy with how that battle panned out. Your final battle in the Elite Four comes with the status conditions boost. I'm not going to write that out again, it's too much hassle. I was left with Karen for this one, who was weak to bug types, so the team I chose was Viola and Masquerain, Eevee and Leaf, and then Pheromosa and Lusamine. I said that I pulled them last week, so all hail Pheromosa and Lusamine, Queen of the Bugs! I had to level them up using books, which I don't usually do very much, because she wasn't surviving the sync move at the level she was. Leveled her up, and that wasn't much of an issue. I had her doing Bug Buzz, because I felt that was doing that little bit more damage. It also reduces special attacks, so with her and Masquerain you want to make sure that you have stats reductions on. Don't turn them off as one of your point options. You could also go for Lunge. I wouldn't be unhappy with that, because that's going to reduce your attack, and it's also good for working out your thigh muscles. But all in all, very happy with that addition to my bug type team. She has a passive called Positive Reinforcement that maxes out both types of attack when you knock out one of the enemy units, so I focused on the Sharpedo to make sure that kicked in before going to work on the other 2. I had Viola and Masquerain in there for Infestation, so setting trap, and then Struggle Bug to reduce the special attack in there of all the enemy units. Umbreon, I'm never sure whether it's a physical or a special striker, so that's why you have lunge in there. It definitely has double edge, which is a physical attack and can do a lot of damage. Viola also has her own passive healing, and then you have Eevee in there doing everything else. So raising stats with her sync move, doing flinching, that 6x boost. She's got Let's Go. She's got potions for healing. She's doing your laundry, doing your taxes, washing your dog, taking the dog for a walk. When I started writing that, I was doing all these tasks that she was doing, and I was like, actually, those are maybe getting into a little bit sexist territory. So I rewrote it a little bit. Hopefully it wasn't too sexist, and if it is, that was not my intention, and I apologise. So because you're not getting big sync move damage because you're using Eevee to boost stats, it's going to take a little bit of a while to get this one done. Obviously you need 3 sync moves to max out the stats from Eevee. I think I got 3 and then it fainted immediately after, so it wasn't like, ooh, do I choose between healing Eevee or going with either Masquerain and Viola or Lusamine and Pheromosa. But this one is a war of attrition, but with some patience you shouldn't have any issues in taking this one out and rounding out the Elite Four. That brings us on to the champion round. It's a new region, but it's an old face because it's Lance. He's upgraded himself from Elite Four to champion. His permanent condition is a special attack reduction. I went with the option of having a sync move countdown for this one as well. He was weak to water types, so the team I chose was May and Swampert, Kyogre and Archie, and Signasuit Blue and Blastoise. So I was really bringing in the big guns for this one. Or the Super Soakers, if you will. It's a team that's kind of here for a good time, but not a long time, because Archie can be quite glassy. That's why you have Blastoise in there as your tank. He also provides defensive boosts for physical and special defense from his trainer move and from his passives. So he gets that first sync move, raises defense, uses to the top when he's run out of trainer moves. Then you go on to Water Pulse because that's going to bring up that special defense and help everyone out. Kyogre is in there, he's opening the oceans and then raising his special attack. That boosts his stats and gets some healing going as well. After that he's using Origin Pulse to do damage to everyone. Sparkly fingers. May is in there using either Muddy Water or Ready for This, depending on how much move gauge there is. If the rain runs out, which I'm not sure whether it will, she can set Rainy Day in there as well. Because you're using Muddy Water and Orange Impulse, the two sides aren't going to do much damage to you at all. They're going to faint well before the Charizard's in the middle, and then you're just hammering down on that, maybe a sync move to finish it off. And your move gauge shouldn't be an issue at all either, because you've got to the top to boost it, and you've got Ready for This that are going to refresh it as well. So yeah, this one should just be a bit of a pool party. And with the conclusion of that pool party comes your 7,500 point run. This I felt was one of the easier ones, went a lot more smoothly than previous weeks have. All of the strategies that I was thinking of, they pretty much worked out as I planned, so very happy. Back in Johto and it feels good. Next week we're going to have another 7,500 point run. It's week 2 in Johto as well, so be sure to come back for that. So I was a bit too busy doing other things last week to complete the Battle Villa. That was what I was doing this week, and I was mainly using it as an opportunity to get some experience points and level up some of my units. I think I ended up using Crash Awake with one round, so that was silly. Eevee works really well in the Battle Villa. That ability to boost her own stats without using trainer moves, and also if you've got Tackle on a refresh, is really good. So I could envisage a team with Eevee as your sort of first target, and then Skylar as a second support, and then just a main striker absolutely going to town on everyone. Ooh, or Xerneas for a sort of triple support kind of dealio with Horn Leech and lots of healing, but I wasn't using that. I was using a combination of Maxi and Archie. I think Maxi with Groudon is probably the better fit for that, so Precipice Blades and also Solar Beam can do a lot of damage in there. So it was an opportunity to look at how different teams work as well. I know some people are like, oh well, I use it to test out new teams. It's like, kind of do that, but it's more a case of, well, this needs to level up, this needs to level up, let's see how well they do together. There's been some story events rerun over the past week. It is only the story, so you don't get many rewards from them. Having played them before, it was a bit like, yeah, I'll go through them. Yeah, it's alright. I would have liked more like coins or gems or stuff like that. That's just me being greedy. It's fun to look through for a few minutes though. The latest event to launch is an egg event. I believe it's for water types and for dragon types. So Dratini immediately caught my eye off of that. And you know, I've caught loads of them in Pokemon Go, caught shiny ones. You know, you've got Dragonites in the game as well, but still there's that part of me, it's like, ooh, Dragonite, I want one. They're rare and powerful. So that's what I'll be hoping pop up in all of my eggs, but hopefully it's an event worth doing. You get your rewards anyway. Don't forget that there are events ending this week, so before the next video comes out, you'll have had the Howling Shield of Eternity, the Palkia, Xerneas, and Kyurem events are all going away, so make sure you get your gems and items and such from that. The Unity Gala also ends within the next week, so I don't know what you're going to do from that. I haven't yet done the Alolan Part 2 for that. I did Part 1 with Raichu, Signasu, Blastoise, and with Lily. It was a bit of a slog. I tried doing it for Part 2 and it did not work. I'm thinking though that I will be able to do it soon enough though, because I gave into temptation and I pulled for the anniversary units. And I was supremely lucky because I got one of each. I was focused on getting Lily, so I maxed out the scout points for that. I got one, and then I got a second copy from the ticket scout. I then was looking at it and I was thinking, you know what, you get a lot of tickets, golden tickets and tokens from that. So I'll pull just for those and I'll see what happens. And I pulled N and Reshiram, and I pulled Steven and Shiny Rayquaza, so I was so happy. Very lucky as well. I felt though that the 5-star drop rate on this was really good. I ended up with 10 new 5-star units that I didn't have before. I got Mallow and Zarini, I got 4 copies of those. I had other pairs that leveled up and opened up new sync nodes. I got duplicates, so plenty of 5-star tickets to go along with that. I just felt really lucky. So yeah, the downside is that I now have next to no gems. I spent them all. What can I say? I was in the mood. And that's another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. Hopefully you've been as lucky as I have with any pulls that you've made. Join us next week for the week that was. We'll be looking at the next week in the Champions Stadium. We'll be looking at any new events that come up between now and then. I'm expecting a new Legendary Arena fairly soon, but you're well past the 90-second mark at this point. Thank you for getting this far. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen and it's inspired you to follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and if you do that, you'll be notified of the week that will be when it lands. But thank you very much for watching this video, and goodbye!